What's cooking, was puffin', SJS Nation, SJS fam. It's still your favorite girl, SHEJACKIESAYS, and I am back once again on your screens with another video. I know it's been a minute, it's just been a week. I've been off and I told you guys what happened. I really missed you guys, trust me, I really did. It was like I was tempted to do this, but I was like, no, I am not in my right mind. I took a break off social media, on WhatsApp, on Twitter, on Instagram, and here even on YouTube, because I had to solve personal issues. Because as you guys know, there's a real life outside out there, out of whatever thing that we are doing, and I try as much as possible to bring you all in some of the stuff that I do, but there are some issues I really need to get it worked out. So I needed a break to clear my head, to solve issues, to think straight, because as a creative, if you are not in your right mind to create content, I'm sure that there is this word for it, but you be confused, and which wouldn't yield any proper results. So I would apologize once again for my, I think it's 1 week already, my 1 week break that I took, and well, I wasn't feeling well, and I'm very grateful for those who were checking up on me. Some of you sent me Instagram DMs, and very grateful. That was just by the way. So as the caption goes, today we're going to be talking about my first year teaching experiences and how it went, and the advice I would want to give to others who are coming into the teaching field, who are already there, who don't know some stuff that I learned, and all those kind of stuff. So if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and let's get right into today's video. I started teaching in January 2021. That was when I started my teaching internship, which was a requirement. Since I have education attached to my course, it was a requirement for me to teach during my final year. Initially, I took it as a joke. Yes, to be sincere with you, it felt awkward, especially to see Jackie teaching in class, but gradually the days came by, and I was even supposed to start my teaching even last year, but because of the COVID, a lot of things delayed, and I was supposed to be done with my university by now, but COVID delayed things, and now I'm here, and finally I am done with my teaching stuff. But I'm not really done. I could still continue if I really want to, but here is how it started. So it started in January 2021. It was all cool. I remember my first day, I was scared. I didn't really know what to expect, because we've been at home. I was at home for, let me say, a year, and coming to stand in front of people it's my thing, because I'm also an event MC, so it should have been something quite normal for me. So our first week, we just did observation. That was what we did during the first week. The first week was full of observation, so we just have to, so when we go, we have mentors, because they are people who are already teachers there, and they are people we are looking out to, so they are going to guide us. Observation, you just have to observe your mentor teach the class. So we did that once. Our mentor made us do that one. We just did one observation. Then the following week, she assigned classes to us, and I was fortunate to have Form 2 general as students at 1 and at 2. Those were my classes, and it was quite an amazing experience. My first day, I went with 2 of my other colleague teachers, and my mentor too came around. Having my mentor around was like pressure, because imagine you teaching someone and you have someone who is already there. It feels like she's criticizing you, so I didn't really know what to expect. I felt a bit shy, and I think I had command over my class, especially my very first day in my class. I was lucky enough to have one of my students also share my same name, which is Jacqueline. So when I mentioned my name, when I did the introduction in the class, I was fortunate enough to have the whole class like me from the onset. Well, like me from the onset because of my name. That is what I would presume. I don't know, but that was the opinion they gave me. So it gave me this, especially if you go to a class and the students show much like or show much interest in whatever thing that you do, I think it's a plus, because you realize that, okay, you're going to be with these people for a while, and you guys are supposed to be in this consensus. So that was basically my very first day, and it continued. I made some mistakes, I learned a lot. So basically, I'm just going to be telling my experiences. I had a few confrontations with some students. I think the final year students, they It could be because at their teenage age, we've all been there before, but I don't think I ever disrespected a teacher. But they feel that they are at the same level with them because we look smallish and all those kind of stuff. So we kind of had issues. I didn't really have issues, but I just felt that some of the final year students, especially, and not just in my school, other schools that my friends were at, they also complained bitterly about the attitude of the final year students, which I didn't find. I felt if I don't have any encounter with them, I'm cool. And the mistake I made was I made myself so comfortable with the class that I was that I didn't even explore other classes to get to know other students, because I felt so comfortable in my shell and I didn't want to be disrespected. Yes. So moving on to some things that I would want to tell you, some experiences. I think you coming in as a teacher, or even you as a teacher, you should learn to say no. Like no, 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 you can't go out. No, you can't do this. No, no, you should be very straight, because most of the times students would just want to test you. They would want to test you and they'll be like, oh, this teacher, she's very lenient, she's very this. I'm not saying be hard on your students, but if your no is no, let your no be no. Don't give this one no and give this one yes. And if your no is no, your no is going to everybody. Whilst you're teaching, if you don't want any students to leave the class, just let them know. Well, it depends. I know you can't, definitely someone will want to go to the washroom or those kind of steps. And setting your rules as a teacher is very important. Classroom management is very important, because the class is yours, and your first encounter with the students determines how your relationship is going to be with the students. You have to control your class, because especially with me being an intern teacher, I had supervisors coming around, and my classroom management was key, because how can you teach if you can't control your class? Because someone is this, someone is just talking, someone's doing this, and there's no control in your classroom, which is very bad. So I feel that you should have classroom management, which I think I totally had control over. Whilst teaching your students, I was teaching the high school. Whilst teaching your students, I feel you're supposed to come down a bit to their level for them to get you. So my teaching strategy, I took them as I'm young, so I took them as my younger siblings, and I talked to them. It wasn't like an autocratic something. I also let them have their say. And my teaching philosophy was that if you involve the students in the teaching process, that is, they get to understand it more better. That is my philosophy, because as a teacher, you're supposed to get a teaching philosophy. Another philosophy in my class that I also said is that no answer is wrong in my class unless we shape it. So these are the standards that I set for myself in my class, so everyone is able to contribute freely, because I set that standard for the very first day that I enter the class, and it's something that my students go by. Even if your answer is wrong, we will still shape it, so you still have the opportunity to ask any question and just answer however way you want to, and we as a whole class will shape it. So it was very important to me when I involved the students in my teaching process, because I felt that they understood that better. Because even at the university level, students learn best among their peers. Most of the time, the class should be too crowded, and the lecturer will be talking a whole bunch, you might not understand. So most of the times, learning with your peers, you might get it better. So I inculcated that experience to my students, and it helped, because I realized from my end of term examination, it was marvelous. My highest marks was 93. My lowest mark in the class was 30. It was 28, the lowest mark I had in my class. And I think I gave them feedbacks. Moving on, giving feedbacks to students is very essential. That is one thing I learned, because they would want to know how they fared. They would want to know how you marked it. They would want to know where they did well, where they didn't do well, and where they are supposed to improve upon. So as a teacher, when you give assessment to students, it is very essential for you to give feedback to them when you give them assessment, when you give them any quiz, if they are doing a presentation. Give them a feedback. Don't just write your marks on the no, don't do that. And especially in senior high school, most of them don't get to see the total CAs and everything. So try as much as possible as a teacher or as an incoming teacher, try as much as possible give feedbacks. One mistake that I made during my time as a teacher is that I didn't give enough classwork and exercises. I didn't know, well, I think before we started, they were supposed to brief us on how the assessment sheet was going to be like, because I think we had 2 exercises, 2 classworks, 2 project works. The project works were all over 10, marks over 10. The class work and the class test 2, which were all over 20. So in all, you're supposed to give at least like 6 or even give a range of 8 assessment works, exercise, project works, assignments. The issues that we have, especially in our part of the world, is that normally the students would have to submit their works for you to mark. So at the end of the time that you are assessing the students, you realize that you don't have enough. That is when you have to manufacture marks, which is very bad on my side. I know I had to manufacture, especially with the assessment, the class, that some of them didn't participate, some of the students were sacked home for school fees, some of them were this, some of them lost their exercise books. And what can you do as a teacher? It's very difficult for you to say that you're giving a student an exercise or a classwork during examination, because the person is way too focused on the examination that he or she is writing. So the mistake that I made was I was supposed to give enough exercises in classwork. The only advice I'll give to you is that next time, as a teacher or as an incoming teacher, what you need to do is you give a lot of range of exercises, classworks, project works, assignments, so that you wouldn't be out of scoring them during the final accumulation of assessments. That is very key. And another one that I realized was, anytime you give an exercise or a classwork or project work, do note it down, because if you wait till the end of the semester or the end of the term to take the students' exercise books and record their marks for their project work or whatever thing that you did within the term, trust me, most of the time you might be disappointed. Students might either lose their books, some of them would give a whole lot of excuses, and you don't know which one is true. So it's better for you that whenever you give an exercise, immediately after the class work, the exercise, the assignment, the project work, you issue their marks alongside their name, because every teacher has a register of their students. So you just take their marks, so that during the final time you wouldn't find yourself 110 in, you wouldn't be chasing. That was what I was doing. I was chasing students for the exercise, and I was like, come on, I am not the one who is taking those marks. I am doing a favor, and I had to be chasing them, which wasn't right. So most of the times as a teacher, I feel that you're supposed to get their marks down even before their final exams or even before they leave for the house. Now, the next one I want to say is, as a teacher, plan your week. Planning your week is very essential, and it was one of my strongholds. Every Sunday evening before the week starts, before Monday, I get my teaching notes ready. I do have my teaching notes here, and it's always here. I had it here, a full scrap. So I plan my week. But the thing is, I taught just once a week. That was mine. But I had other colleagues. I had a colleague who was teaching the final year students, and I think she met them 3 times a week. So such an individual needs to plan for the week. She needs to plan very well for the week, so that you wouldn't go to the class and you'd be like, you wouldn't know what you're going to teach. As a teacher, it is very essential for you to plan for the week. So if you're going to teach this course, you would know, you would even go through that training even before you go to teach. You're supposed to get your topic, your classroom activities, everything set. Let everything be there. So plan for the week. And another thing I would also say is that be fully prepared before you go for a lesson. Well, sometimes I was fully prepared, sometimes I wasn't fully prepared because I felt I knew. But don't ever make that mistake. You don't always know. You don't know what the students also know. So it is very important for you to learn very well and plan ahead for your class. I had other colleagues, teachers, they wouldn't plan. They felt they were too busy. Monday they'll come to class, they'll teach, and you realize that they were making so many mistakes. You are teaching people's children, and they're going to write a final exams. So what is the impact that you are impacting on them? It's very essential for you to plan fully for your lesson. Learn ahead, read why. Don't just read one book, read different books, source from different ideas, because the students, most of the books they have, they are saying, they will be like, oh, madam uses this. So I remember took a self-assessment test. I told my students that they are supposed to write what they like about me or what they dislike about me. They shouldn't write their name. If they feel like they want to write their names, fine. And I took it, and I think it gave me some motivation. I remember one student wrote that madam doesn't use one thing I like about her is she comes to class fully prepared. She doesn't use any book or something. Well, I never used a textbook, and that was what I taught. It's very bad. But when I was a kid, when I was in senior high school, I remember my teachers used to come to class with their textbooks. It means they didn't plan. They just came, read it out to us, and we are good to go. But Thank God we are out of those systems right now. If you want to become a teacher, if you're a teacher, an incoming teacher, try as much as possible to prepare fully for your lesson. And another one that I want to say is that let your students know your activities. When you enter the class, let them know this is what we are going to do today. Let the students know your routine. Have a consistent routine that you use. If you're going to be doing role play, if you're going to be doing this, let the students know. And especially, it depends on your philosophy, as I said. And it's very, if you are teaching the lower class, I think it's very essential for your students to be part of everything that you do. I hope you understand. Let them know that this is the activity. So, and let them know what they are going to be learning that day. So before I go to the class, before you teach, let the student know that by the end of the lesson, they are supposed to know the definition of what a constitution is and what a constitution encompasses. That is basically it. Let them know, okay, and today, maybe if there's going to be a role play, if there's going to, so today, let them know, today there's going to be a discussion, today it's going to be this. Let them know. So most of the time, my class was mainly discussion, question and answering, lecture. I did a little bit of lecture technique in my class, and groupings. We did think, pair, share. That was what I was doing. The student would think, think, pair, share. I think you guys should understand that technique is there. Yeah, we have different teaching techniques in class, so you just have to let the students know and be part of whatever thing that you're doing. So basically, I would say that my teaching experiences has been great, and it has molded me in a different way. Especially, I would come in terms of my dressing. When I started teaching, it changed everything of mine. Well, I'm not even someone who does a lot of makeup, because right now I don't have any makeup. The only thing I have on is lip gloss, and basically that's it. It molded me. After my 4 or 5 months of teaching, it's really changed my perspective about things. I've become a bit calm, and my dressing, I think, has changed. My view of life has changed, because getting closer to people's children, getting closer to younger people, I realized that they have a different mentality, they have a different mindset, and being able to impact knowledge on these kids was a privilege to me, and I really enjoyed it. I think I really enjoyed. I never thought I would enjoy teaching as much as I did. Now, the way forward, I don't know if I'm still going to be a teacher or not, but what I would have to do is write my licensure exams and get my license to officially teach. So even if I write my licensure, what am I saying? Licensure exams, I would definitely, I could still keep it anytime I would want to teach. It's still valid. My teaching experience has been great, has been amazing. I learned a lot. I impacted knowledge. I changed lives, and I became a role model to some of the students, because as a teacher, you're supposed to be a role model. And I was fortunate enough to go to a girls' school, so I had all these young girls looking up to me, which was very good. At least I was able to let them know that this is life. They are growing up. They are going to be like me. Probably I wouldn't want them to make the mistakes that I did. So be an advisor to the kids. Let them know. Don't really let them into your personal life. And I think basically that is it. So if you have any other question about teaching or any other thing that you want to know, just leave it down below in my comments box, or send me a DM on Instagram, idol_Jackie, or Twitter, or on Facebook, anywhere. All my social media links are in my description box down below. So guys, here is the end of the video, and I hope you enjoyed my teaching experiences. I can't wait to listen to your teaching experiences and what you'd have to say about teaching. So thank you guys for watching today's video. It's still your favorite girl, SHEJACKIESAYS, your hostess with the mostest, bringing you the hottest, the juiciest, and I am out. Peace, guys.
Everywhere she goes, every day SHEJACKIESAYS. We're just trying for woman, SHEJACKIESAYS. We're just trying for